Hello and welcome to part 3. As you can see over here, I finished weaving the band that I started in part 1 and it's ready to be taken off the Rigid Heddle loom. And on the table are a pile of bands that I've woven over the years. Because what I found was once you start weaving some of the bands, it gets a little addictive and you just want to keep weaving them. But then all of a sudden you have a nice collection like this and you're saying, what am I going to do with all of this? Well, maybe you've already come up with some ideas, but what I'd like to do, I'm going to zero in on this table and we're going to take a look at some of the things that I made and also look at some of the ways to finish the ends of your bands. And then I'm going to show you some books and some other ideas if you want to take band weaving to the next level. Well, look at this one. This one was taken off the loom and I cut it, and you can see it's starting to unravel. If you've taken something off the loom, usually there's a little some yarn on the end, but I still like to roll it up. So you can roll it up until you know what you're going to do with it. Or if you have a sewing machine or a serger, I serged the end of this one. I didn't need to have any fringe. I was just going to use this for something else. Or you can have a zigzag machine and take care of it that way. Another option is basically like you finish scarves. So right now what I did on this one, I just did some overhand knots. Now they're pretty big knots, but they at least secured that in, and I have a little bit of fringe on there. But I'm someone who likes to have my fringe a little nice and tidy. So one thing you could do is you could braid it. And here's a nice braid. It makes it flatter at this end, and then it kind of goes out at the end. So that's another idea if you're going to use it maybe as a belt or as some kind of adornment in that way. So that's one way. One of my favorite ones is to twist the fringe. So I have the fringe twisted on both ends of that one, and I also did it on this one as well. So those are different things you can do if you want to basically use this, the whole piece, and have the ends as part of the decor or whatever you're doing with the piece. Or you can do it just to keep it that way and kind of have a nice little collection. So those are some ideas for finishing. Oh, I do have one more idea. This would be if you wanted to put a piece of leather or vinyl on the end. Now this is very, very roughly done, but you have the idea. You could sew something on the end, maybe even make it wider, maybe put a buttonhole in or something like that. So you could also do that. So those are some options for, well, here are a couple of ideas. Here I had an old belt buckle, one of those plastic or the buckles, or you could get a metal one. This is very, very soft, so you can make a belt out of it. This is where I decided to do a kind of a key ring fob. You can find these available. They press into your fabric, and then you can put a key ring on the end. Another idea is to make a leash. Now my dogs are a little heavy duty, so these wouldn't work. But if you have a small dog, this one I actually took a heavier band and I wrapped my woven piece around it and stitched it, and then I made a hole, a handle. What I don't have on here though is I would put like a carabiner or some kind of a ring in there. This one is another one, another leash. Again, it is not lined though. And again, there's a little hole at the end there, so you could put a carabiner in there, and then you could attach that to your dog's collar. Of course, you could also make a dog or a cat collar or a pet collar, whatever kind of pet you might have. So those are some ideas. And then I have also, if you know someone with musical instruments. Now I cannot remember which end these are. Mandolin perhaps. I don't remember exactly what it is, but there's one idea. You could also do a guitar strap. Here's another one with the holes. And you can, these are ends that you can purchase at different locations, you know, on the internet, and then you can add. And then I even put a buckle here, adjustable strap, so that could be also used as well. And the last thing I came up with, again, you have many more ideas probably in your head than I do. I took one of my bands and I cut it up, and this is some of that poly, kind of a very soft material, and I literally sewed the bands on that. Then I turned it, you know, this is inside out. I sewed it on, and then I sewed it I took the, before I sewed the sides, I flipped this over. This won't fray. So now, and I did the same thing at that end. So I have a little pouch. I think it would also be fun to do this at a diagonal, but I didn't have enough. So if you have a lot of them, you could put them all together and kind of make a little diagonal pouch or purse with those. So those are some ideas that you could do with some of your bands. Now, what if you want to get a little fancier? How about these? Aren't they pretty? These were also done on my rigid heddle loom using a pickup technique. And what's nice is this is the one side, and you flip it over. This is what the other side is. Okay, you have different, well, this one's a different size on here, and you can try different patterns. So each one of those, you flip it over, you have a different pattern, kind of the negative and the positive. And on this one's another one, made a shorter one. Takes a lot of patience and practice. And here's another one. This was the first one I did. It's thicker yarn, so it's easier to work with. And I have little pluses and minuses on there. And then this one was a bit of a challenge to do, but just giving you some ideas. If you're interested in doing something like that, this is one book, and inside the book, there are a lot of patterns. And she also goes through the steps on how to do that. So if you're interested in it, she goes through the different ways of doing the pickup on that. So again, I don't know the author, it's just a book that I found that helped me out. And then if you want to do something with a Norwegian pickup, that was some of the finer weave that I'm showing you here. This is some of the Norwegian pickup. Really, really complicated, or what I'd say is you have to really follow the directions. And here's, again, there's lots of patterns that you can check out, and as well as some directions. She has they're using, I think, a belt loom to do some of these. But again, she goes through different techniques. And you can see the picture there. And showing you basically how to do the weaving, and also she'll also show you how to do some of the pickup techniques. And again, that book is Norwegian Pickup Band Weaving. Thank you for watching, and I hope this has inspired you to maybe try something you haven't tried before. Some band weaving, narrow weaving, and just see what happens. Maybe you'll get addicted and weave lots of bands like I did. Take care, and again, thanks for watching.